Well, hello everyone, and welcome to another episode of Industry Insight brought to you by REM Times. Today, our topic of discussion is the growth potential of community association management in the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia. Now, community association management may be considered to be a relatively new trend in Saudi Arabia, but it is one that is quickly growing in importance among both property owners as well as property managers. Now, giving us an insight into this topic is our guest today, Mr. Jamil Saleh, the CEO of Solana Living. Now, he brings with him over 20 years of experience in the financial, real estate, property, and development management. And he has also managed to transform his 40-year-old family business in the real estate, property management, and operations into a more modern and technology-based entity. So thank you, Mr. Jamil, for taking time out for us today.
Thank you, Mega, for having me. It's a pleasure and an honor. Been looking forward to it. So I hope we get a good session out there today.
The pleasure is all ours. Now, as I said earlier, you've been in this industry for more than 20 years. So I want to start off our discussion by asking what really drives you in the market even today?
Thank you. It's a great question. And I've always believed that in our line of work, there's a great feeling of satisfaction for providing our clients with services and offerings for their most valuable asset, their home. While we understand the importance of that, we also understand the sensitivity of everything that touches their home. I've always had one main thought in the back of my head when faced with challenges and or decisions to be made on that. What if it was my home? What if it was my kids? What if it was my family? I think when you put that in perspective, I think the picture will be clearer in so many different ways. And when your business is concerning people's home, trust me, it's never dull. It's always exciting. It comes up with a lot of challenges, a lot of satisfactions within. And how to make the business profitable is always a challenge. And when you mix home and business, it constantly brings that challenge. And if your conscious is awake, which I always believe that ours is, you tend to understand that you got to understand that your counterparty, whoever sits across from you, is talking to you about something very precious. And again, that's their home.
Right. But we've seen so much of change, especially when it comes to the built environment in the kingdom. So I wanted to ask you, how have you seen this kind of evolution happening in the built environment, especially in the Saudi Arabia in the last 1 year, and when it comes to community management sector?
I think it's unfair to look at just the last year without really looking at many other aspects, before and after. I mean, you look at the vision, you look at His Royal Highness Prince Mohammed, and what has he done and how he's taking this forward. I mean, it really fuels every engine that's out there, regardless of what it is. But 1 year is unfair. I think there has been amazing progress and working progress by MUMRA, which is the Ministry of Municipality and Rural Affairs and Housing. They've been doing an amazing job. Initiatives are being placed and are placing a lot of efforts into community management. There's, Riga is responsible for this, which is the real estate governing authority, and they've done an exceptional job. I've met with the team a couple of times, and amazing team, amazing things are happening. But you can't look at Saudi, and I think that's where the biggest challenge is. You cannot just look at Saudi in a way where it's easy to make change. It's a big country. There's a very solid, strong economy in place. But I think constant positive change is the one common feeling you will hear from a lot of the entrepreneurs in this business. There's a lot of things happening. While I strongly believe there is never a right way to move and advance. You will never please everyone. The changes are happening. And sometimes you need to take a step back before moving forward. So I think what has happened in the last year is great, but you got to look at, from 2016 when the vision started, and kind of see how that worked. For lack of a better example, I think it's like a diesel engine. It takes you a while to get warmed up, but once it's out there, it's it saves you a lot of money, and it gives you a lot of good results. Not saying that we are a diesel engine, as much as just saying it takes time, and what has happened in the last year is tremendous. I cannot even list, and there's not a site out there that can tell you the amount of things that has happened that are relevant and connected to each other. It being on the real estate side, it being on the community management side, it being on the development side, the buildings and all that. So yeah, I think last year was great. The last 12 months, and I think the next 12, there's a lot of great initiatives, like I've mentioned, trying to reach 15 million people as far as population in Riyadh by 2030 is mind-boggling, and I'm very, very confident that that is doable. And once that happens, I think, like I said, great things will happen.
Absolutely, and I don't think it's a diesel engine. I think it's more on a hybrid kind of an engine. We're seeing so much of kind of developments going on that like kind of unheard of, especially the recent design announcement of NEOM was like something that's so impressive. I can't even think that in a couple of years of time, we're going to see a structure like that. So,
I mean, you're seeing, we used to hear mega, and then there's giga, and there's cities, and there, recently the line and just the idea of that. I mean, honestly, when I was watching that video, my brain was community management. How would it happen? I mean, you're talking about 200 meters wide, 500 meters high, just crazy, something new, something different. You've got to rediscover the industry, not just the community management. God, I mean, every single, we're in a service business. Our product is customer service, is time. How are you gonna translate that? It's gonna be a great challenge, and I really look forward. I mean, that line video I probably watched a few times, and it's just amazing because it just kept me thinking, and how are we gonna be hopefully positively affected by that?
Absolutely. And I don't think it would be fair to kind of compare industries in terms of the various regions, because every region has its own path. But when we look at the kingdom, what do you perceive as the current challenges that the industry still faces and they need to overcome?
I think as far as challenges, it'll be tough to kind of say, these are the challenges that are going to be happening, because again, we're venturing into a lot of new things. Technology by itself is a world full of surprises. You don't know. And if you look back at what was being targeted 5 years ago and what people sought after, recently, and look at it today, you'll see that there's a huge difference. I think the main challenge, and not in my opinion just real estate, is across many different sectors and industries, is going to be the digitalization and the transformation of such. And how can you cope? How can you keep up with all these changes and challenges? If we want to go, down to 10,000 feet and talk about community management and the challenges on that, I think if you look currently, you'll see a set of challenges. But knowing what I know about the initiatives again that are taking place, as far as, and I've mentioned that a few times in the past, the linking between, and it's happening, it's taking place between different government agencies, it being commerce, judicial system, governing bodies, they're coming together. It's unfair to say that the challenge is coming up is this, while I know that there are a few things out there that are being tackled, and it's just a matter of time. You got to be patient across that part in particular.
When you look at the newer generation of community managers coming today, in your opinion, what should be their focus right now?
I've had such discussions before, and to tell you the truth, I think the answer is simple. Community managers focus yesterday, today, and tomorrow should always be the residents. Like I mentioned earlier, I honestly believe that our business is all about understanding the value of the product we manage, people's homes. A community manager should always, and no matter what, or how big or small an issue is, remember to always be humble, because a resident is placing before them the safety and comfort of their family. I mean, I know I repeated that earlier, but we provide a service that is based on time. I don't have a tangible product today. And again, hitting back on the same point, which is the home, it's all about, how willing a community manager is to help and assist. And I think that is and should be the focus of any and all community managers, like I said, in the past, present, and future.
That's some really key insights over there. And I'm sure there are a lot of them who are tuning in and listening to that as well. When we're looking at the community management sector as a whole in the kingdom, what do you believe are the main driving factors this year?
I hope I don't repeat myself, yeah. but I think I'm hitting on one point. Customer service. I mean, it's got to be as simple as that. Customer service. And remember, the three most important qualities of customer service center around 3 P's, right? Professionalism, patience, and people's first approach and attitude. And if there's any driving factor that is ahead of that, I'm all ears. I'd love to learn. I'd love to read about it. But in my opinion, and the longer I have been in this industry, the more I realize that simplicity is key, and while focusing on what really matters the most, because again, your job is to manage a community, which is a group of people owning or residing in the most valuable thing in their life. So customer service, it's all about the yes ma'am, how can I help you, how can we be of an assistance, because that is what we do, right? We're about providing the end user, them being homeowners or renters from the homeowners, as that.
Now we've seen such amazing work from Solana Living as well. So what is the next phase for Solana Living? If you can give us a little bit of insight into that.
Solana is an idea that is built on evolving consistently. Solana, when we launched Solana, it was launched where we have 3 main industry companies and focuses that we started on. The operation side of the business, which is the Solana Living, and that focuses on property management, asset management, community management. And then you've got that Solana Development, our second arm, and our third being that real estate arm to do that. And we have 2, hopefully in the next year, we have at least 1 new spin-off, which is focused mainly on innovation and technology and taking that forward. So we strongly believe that in today's fast-moving world, technology is essential. Today, I mean, you see the youngest, oldest, the wealthiest, and everyone with a smart home that depend heavily on that, and it has changed our lives tremendously. And I think the next step for us is to dive a little bit more into technology and innovation and see how we can provide Solana residents with the lifestyle that we want them to have. Because we're determined for Solana to create a lifestyle that meets the needs of our tenants and communities. And I can go for hours on this topic. But our intent is to elevate their living experience and make it seamless. And I think with technology, this is our main objective. And I think this is our next step forward. What's after is for our next interview.
Great. Well, thank you so much, Mr. Jamil. That certainly was an insightful conversation. And sometimes we forget it's the simple things that really makes a bigger impact. And I really admire the path that, Solana Living has taken towards contributing more modern, enhanced way of living experiences in the region. So more power to all of you.
Thank you, Megha. I appreciate it. Thank you for your time, your patience with me. And I wish you guys all the best, yourself, Rem Times, and everyone in that entity.
Thank you so much. Now, with that, we come to an end of the episode. We sure hope you enjoyed this one, and we encourage you to leave your comments in the section below. And don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to our YouTube channel. So until next time, this is it from Rem Times.